with me as a guide. Y'all can see me now because you don't see with your eye. You perceive with your mind. That's the end.
It reminds me, like, are you ever on the internet and you have like a video playing, but it sounds like some other shit's going on too, and then you're like, there's another tab.
There's another tab. Yeah.
But like, no.
Or like an ad on a page. You're like reading a newspaper article. You're like, where the hell is that coming from?
Yeah. That's what this sounds like. This sounds like you accidentally have two songs playing, and you're like, what? You're like watching a walkthrough for a fucking dungeon crawling video game, but then the song's on too.
Fucking POV COD playthrough. He's camping.
It's coming on, it's coming on, it's coming on, it's coming on, it's coming on. Our future is coming on, it's coming on, it's coming on. Our future is coming on.
Got fucking Batman. Damn, bro. I turned it down for a reason.
I don't want to hear shit.
The ad libs were too loud for me.
Got the earmuffs on, dude. Sorry.
Yeah.
Wow.
You heard a noise canceling headphones? It's kind of like that, but the opposite.
Somebody knocking on the door?
At the door,
Hello? Come in. Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
How's it going? We were just getting started the podcast. What's up? Oh, sorry. That's all good, man. Oh, thank you very much. That's right, folks. The studio was invaded.
The studio got flash mobbed.
By invaders of the third kind. I came in. The studio. I was actually.
It was crazy. Mm-hmm. So we came off Clint Eastwood, the Gorilla song, and we made a joke about how many weird things were in the song, and it ended, and the door knocked, and for a second I was like, that could have been in the song.
I know. I was very confused. I was like, that is a very realistic ad lib.
Yeah. It's like, damn, they really got the mic right on that door.
Wow, dude. They really captured. What mic did they use? No, but I had, by the way, live from the studio, I'm Jimmy Selesky.
Merrick Glazer.
We're glad to be back. It's been quite the hiatus, but, lots of things have happened, including my birthday yesterday.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Which we will get into, but real quick, like I said, we have a person of age who lives in the actual house on this property. And she has some form of dementia or whatever, and she continues to lose her key over and over again. Actually, she hasn't been too bad recently. And so I have a key. The neighbor that rents out the garage part here has a key himself. The other night I get a call when I'm in Gaithersburg at a gig. He's like, hey, Jimmy, are you in the area? And I'm like, nah. He's like, oh, man, I lost my key, but, she's locked out again. I was like, God damn it. And I was like, all right, I have a key in the studio. It's like, I have a key in the studio. I'm not going to tell you guys where it is, all right? Maybe it's not even in the studio.
Well, not anymore.
Not anymore. I mean, yeah, he took it. I'm not even going to tell you where the key used to be. Especially since you just watched on camera.
Depends on what camera was on. It switched to.
Yeah, exactly. Depends on how much editing I do. Yeah. Just a blur. A big blur. But let's say, for hypothetically, that didn't happen. So they come in. So there's a little side door, and his carpet shelves are all blocking the things. I was like, you're gonna have to move the thing. This guy's got like a colostomy bag and shit. Like he can't be doing all this heavy lifting. But the cops, in all their effervescent wisdom, just open the door, just like trudge through. They move my camera over. I'm kind of embarrassed because I do just have butt plugs just laying all over the studio from Matt Brown. So there's like just piles of ash in the ashtray.
Bongos, there's butt plugs.
It looks very like it's hard to get it. There is no vibe in here. It's like every vibe. This studio is every vibe. It's like the rainbow. It's like there's a Santa Claus and a barrel. There's like it doesn't add up. There's a green and brown, orange aesthetic over there.
Good thing Pollard just wasn't with them.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm sure they saw that and were like, and my neighbor informed me that they said it smelled good in here. I wonder if that was some type of,
euphemism.
People always talk about British sarcasm, but let's not underrate cop sarcasm. I mean, is there anyone who's just more consistently hilarious than a police officer. But yeah, they thought it smelled good in here. I'm assuming that means weed.
I guess.
But here's the kicker, cops. I don't even smoke weed like that.
Yeah, and we haven't done the podcast for like 2 or 3 weeks at this point.
That's true.
So
That's
like,
true.
what would the smell be?
Maybe they thought it really. Maybe they liked the incense. Maybe they're like, that
yeah,
smells
maybe
good
the
in here.
incense, yeah, or maybe they just liked it smelled like an old bar to them because of
Yeah.
all the cig butts and
Yeah.
probably open beers.
If it was a adult cop and he said that, and when I say adult cop, I mean older than I.
Yeah.
You know, I hate cops younger than me, dude. I almost don't respect him. Dare I say?
Well,
it's
I
hard for me to respect a
imagine-
cop younger than me.
Yeah, it's got to be the same thing. Like when I worked at the movie theater and I was a manager, whenever someone would ask for a manager and then I showed up at like, 22 years old, like
Yeah.
still like scruff on my face, can't grow real facial hair, but like really think I could.
Yeah.
And I show up in my suit that smells like trash and popcorn. I'm like, hey, how can I help you? Like they're not
They're
not like relieved. They're
Yeah.
like, no, get your manager now.
It is interesting.
You can't be the grown up here.
Like I always think about like I think like when you're like running for president, let's say you're Donald Trump and you're getting like people like coming at you, blah blah blah. I'm like, damn, that's gotta be stressful as fuck. Like I don't know if I could deal with that many people hating me all the time. And then I thought about it and I was like, dude, but when you're like 70 something and like the average person that's pissed off at you is like 20, 30 years old coming at you, it's like I could see kind of the same way like my dad yesterday at my birthday party. He doesn't give a shit if we're annoyed with him. He does not care because he's older than us.
I know, but he was telling some new stories last night.
Dude,
I was intrigued.
my dad was on 2 last night. I could not believe my dad last night. I was like, Dad, what are you talking about, dude? He's telling us he got abducted by aliens.
I know. Had he never told you that before?
No, he was totally making that up.
Are you sure? 'Cause
Yes,
all
I'm
this,
sure.
I mean, all the stuff that he was talking about, like, checks out with other people's experiences.
Yeah, I
Unless
know.
he's like a big alien guy and looks it up
He's
himself.
he's saying all the things you're supposed to say.
Yeah.
He knows what you're supposed to say. He's no bozo. But he is a fucking idiot.
he was still fun. Are you sure? Because I could see it.
He was fucking with us.
Okay.
You don't think that he would have told me about getting abducted by aliens at some point? And you think
mean,
that would have
maybe
been the
not.
time for it to come out?
Maybe not, dude.
He's like, Jimmy, on your
Maybe
31st
you're finally
birthday.
old enough, dude. You're finally old enough. The government finally told the truth and said they're aliens.
That being said, all of his other true stories were true, but the aliens thing, I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to ask him
Yeah,
about
looking
that.
for Bigfoot and finding the orbs in the cave. That's real.
Yeah,
but the
that's-
aliens not.
That's nuts. Yeah, he did say that.
He did
which
say
is
that
apparently
shit.
A thing.
Which is a thing.
Holy shit! I'm starting to believe him now. But regardless, the point being is like he doesn't care. Like he doesn't think twice about just blatantly interrupting a flow of conversation to start telling us a fucking 5-minute story that no
Yeah,
one
yeah.
asked for because he's older than us.
Yeah, I was in the middle of like explaining Oppenheimer.
Yeah, and he's
to
just like, all right,
someone,
all right.
and he was like, "All right, I'm gonna wait for you to finish. I already told everyone else to shut up." For wrap it up, because I'm about to tell a story again.
Yeah, dude. It's like when my brother's friends are over. You think
Oh,
I
it's
give
still
a
funny.
fuck about messing with my brother's friends? Like when we were at the Orioles game, which is another thing we've done in
Mm-hmm.
between times since the last podcast, and we met up with Dom's friends. I was like, dude, I'll say whatever I want to these motherfuckers.
Oh yeah,
I don't give a shit. Am I annoying you? Fucking move. I'm older than you.
yeah. I'm not even here with you. I don't
Yeah,
care.
I was here first. I was here first. So yeah, it's the same with cops. It's like I can kind of see how like you get to a certain age. Like I already am. I'll get in an argument with the cop, and absolutely I'll get in an argument with the cop that's younger than me. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, dude, who the hell are you? But regardless, so they fucked up my stuff, and so I had to spend the beginning of the podcast kind of getting stuff figured out. But situated. But yeah, we did celebrate my birthday yesterday. 31. That's a weird age.
31. Yeah.
I haven't felt this weird. Okay, 29 is a weird age too.
29 is a weird age, but at least you're like, I'm in my 20s.
I think, yeah. It's like you're still hanging on to your 20s. 30 is an obviously momentous
It is.
age.
It's a big one, but also like when I turned 30, I was like, same shit.
It reminds me, 31 reminds me of 20. Because 20 was this age where it's like, you're no longer a teenager, but you're not old enough to still do anything that teenagers can't do. Like, you're 20. You can't go to bars. You can't, like, rent a car. You can't do, like, anything. You can't smoke cigarettes now. You can't smoke weed legally. Like, you can't actually do anything. You're too old to go to, like, house parties, like high school parties. You're too old to go to high school parties, but you're too young to go to the bars. So it's like you literally can't do anything. You have to throw, like, college house parties, which is like, I don't know. We had a difficult time with it. I hated those years, dude. I mean, I didn't hate that era, but I just remember every weekend we were trying to find something to do. It was like this never.
There's always the hurdle of like, okay, we can finally do something. How are we going to get alcohol for it now?
Exactly. we like exactly. So it's like first you got to find something to do because you can't just go to the bars because none of us were smart enough to just get a fake until the last minute. So we couldn't go to the bars.
I mean, you guys were smart enough to get fakes, but then
Yeah,
you
1
lost them all at the same 7-Eleven in Ocean City.
1 month before my birthday. 1 month before my 21st birthday, I was like, this is it, dude. I'm getting a fake. Because that was it. I remember that summer after I turned 20, I was like the summer before I turned 21, because my birthday is in August for any math heads out there. So I was like, dude, we can't, like,
Trying to
all
at
of our
least
friends are
enjoy
21.
the first 2 months of summer.
Exactly. All of our friends are now 21. We're kind of younger for our age. We're young for our age. This is a stupid thing to say.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, we just said we have late birthdays, and like
All of our
if,
peers.
If we were born a year or two later, we would have been held back because they do that weird shit now. Where like, yeah,
yeah. So, no, I just remember that age being like just insignificant. It just felt like nothing, and that's what 31 feels like. It doesn't feel like a thing. It's like I'm officially a 30-something. I'm in my 30s now. You know, when you turn 30, it's like welcome to 30, but 31 is like, all right, we're really in it. You know, and it doesn't feel. I feel nothing. I feel nothing. It just feels like a real age. I would say that it feels like a real age when I tell people, they're like, how old are you? I'm like 31. I'm like, that is a man's age.
Yeah.
I am officially a man's age. It's kind of freaky a little bit, but
yeah.
I haven't thought about it too much. I honestly, normally I'm kind of a diva on my birthday a little bit. Like I not a diva, but like I definitely make sure everyone knows it's my birthday. Like I like humble brag. That's my birthday.
Yeah.
I like find a way. It's like
Just like, you know, sprinkle a little bit here and there in conversation. Not really to draw attention, but you're making mention of it.
Yeah,
Anytime anyone says it's their birthday, people perk up and are like, oh, happy birthday.
Exactly. I never pass an opportunity. Like if there's any way in converse, kind of like how like a guy who like graduated from Harvard will find a way to work the fact that he went to Harvard in any conversation.
For sure.
I will find any way to work my birthday into conversation. Completely irrelevant conversations. But I wasn't really doing that yesterday. I wasn't really as much of a. I didn't care. I like forgot it's my. I think it's because it was a Sunday.
Yeah.
You know, and of course, you know, Dan and Marissa, they bullied me into having my outing on Sunday. I didn't think of it as bullying, but Alex and them were joking that I was bullied into making my birthday celebration on Sunday.
And then Marissa didn't even show up.
And then Marissa didn't even show up. So it's like, you know what?
She said she had food poisoning. Or
Yeah,
something.
you have food poisoning. And then Mehedi fucking went to my apartment.
Yeah.
Even though I said several times it was gonna be at my parents' house.
Yeah.
That was a
we're
nice
gonna
twist,
pregame
though.
in the basement.
That was a nice twist having it at my parents' house. That's like a once in every 5-year type of twist. You know, you're like, whoa.
Because they got a good little outside space, you know? Mm-hmm. Nice little place to hang out.
Yes, but all in all, good night. You guys didn't make it out to the bars with us. We went out to the bars. We only went to like a couple places. We were mostly just like drinking our minis in the alley.
Oh my God.
I was like stashing them in bushes and then coming out and drinking. I was like, this is
This is
quite
some 31-year-old
this
activity.
is quite the birthday. And now it's just kind of like back to reality. It's always tough when you like have like that, because I took the whole weekend off and I feel like I was on vacation and now I'm like, this is like my first day back, but it's kind of, so I'm kind of loopy. Plus being hungover. I know you said you were hungover too.
Yeah, and we didn't even get out to the bars with you guys.
I know. But needless to say, lots of stuff has happened. We talked about the Orioles before. Orioles still killing it. We are still number one.
We went to the one game they lost.
I know. It was absolute fucking bullshit.
That's, you know, I feel like that's very us though.
Oh, yeah, totally. I did want to actually play you a video because this story actually occurred I think like a week or two ago, where an announcer, Kevin Brown, one of the commentators for the Orioles, was suspended at the time indefinitely for literally just stating a stat about the team. It was something. I'm gonna actually play it. I'm not gonna spoil it, but this is what announcer Kevin Brown. He was actually, because there was so much backlash, he was actually let come back on because people were like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" But let me play this for you here.
Play-by-play man for the Baltimore Orioles, Kevin Brown.
Of course, this is a reaction video because that's all you can ever get.
Definitely. I'm like, okay. And here's the video. I hesitated to click play because he looks like this young guy, and I'm like, this would be terrible if his career is significantly harmed here.
Shut up, dude.
You just can never get a video,
about how
Yeah, you can never get the
Orioles
original
have
video for some
performed well
reason.
against the Rays, who have dominated the series.
It's always a dude
And then
like
I
us
keep waiting for
fucking
the turn. Is he
reacting.
gonna say something
Dude, you're running out of
inappropriate?
time on the
Fences?
fucking
Is he gonna
minute
say
you have.
something
Yeah, this is a
about
YouTube short.
particular
There's only 30 seconds
race,
left.
Color, creed. He says nothing except the facts of what's supported graphically on the screen.
I'm sorry, I
about the
didn't
Orioles having
screen
been
this
terrible.
before.
I saw what this guy said, and if this is why he's been suspended, you're out of your minds.
There's less than 10
Leave the guy
seconds
alone.
left.
Dude, they're
He
not
doesn't
gonna
even
play
the clip.
Terrible, you
Dude,
work.
what the fuck?
This
You're
is
great now.
fucking
Can you
YouTube
focus
now.
on
It
this
sucks.
Here we go. I think
Anytime
this is
you try to
it.
see shit.
Here we go. Please, for the love of
Orioles, Brandon Hyde has felt like this has been maybe the toughest ballpark to play in, but the Orioles have a chance to do something special today. They've already clinched at least a split in the series, winning 2 of the first 3, and they could pick up a series win behind Tyler Wells today. It's been a minute. The Orioles split a 2-gamer with the Rays in June. They had lost their last 15 series here at Tropicana Field. You have to go back to when our now colleague Brad Brock picked up the win in the series finale June 25th, 2017, the last time the Orioles won a series here at St. Pete. Already got 3-2 at the Trop this year after winning 3 of 18 the previous 3 years combined. It is a stark difference, Ben, and it is not a bad Rays team. It's not like all of a sudden the Rays became slouches in the American League East. They've led this division every day but now 2, and the Orioles once again are back alone in first place.
What's the matter? You waiting for something suspendable?
Yeah, I mean, I was waiting for it to turn back around, and it did at the end. Or it was like a stark difference now because we're winning, I guess.
I was waiting for him to say something about the Jews or something. I was not expecting him to get suspended for simply stating that we hadn't won a series since 2017.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that all those guys do is just like look up like this day in baseball or last time Orioles did this or that or da-da-da, and you just find the stats and fill the dead air.
Here's the other great thing about it. He was saying it to a graphic on screen, which means the entire
the production
department,
knew this was going to happen.
They put that up. They were like, we're going to talk about this.
Yeah.
And then he just said that. And then they booted him. And then it was like the Orioles were kind of made into like a laughingstock around the league because I think it was Angelos probably that decided to do it. Being a Greek, I totally understand it because I know how like Greeks can be like randomly sensitive about shit for no reason. I think the way he looked at it was like, this makes our franchise, our organization look so bad. But it's like, dude.
No, suspending a guy for just saying some like literal statistics looks bad.
Us being bad for the past 5 years made us look bad.
Yeah.
If anything, not this one singular fucking thing that this guy said. It was just so silly.
There's probably something else that happened that.
Apparently not. Apparently it was literally it because what happened was everybody was going after him. Like everybody was like tweeting about it, including me, obviously. And they just kind of quietly like let him back on, and now he's working again. But he had been out for like 2.5 weeks, and all the announcers around the league were like making jokes. Like they would say like the Chicago White Sox announcer said something like, "And a tough loss for the White Sox here last night. Hopefully the Baltimore Orioles don't suspend me for saying."
God.
Like it was like,
yeah, like why are we always so bad with shit like that?
I made the observation that it appears to me that the Baltimore Orioles PR department is doing everything in their power to keep the Orioles the laughingstock of the league, no matter how good we get. They want with those Connect uniforms, dude. I mean, come on. They were a fucking joke. the Pride Night tweets were a little excessive. It was a little much. It was like, Jesus Christ, what am I fucking reading? What am I reading?
I mean, I feel like every company like does that now. It's not.
Dude, but they was like the Orioles Twitter specifically was, I think, egregious. Like you can be like, hey, it's Pride Night, celebrate Pride Night, but they were really going hard with it. There was some like really cringe stuff, like very obviously like it was too much, and a lot of people were noting it. Even like it was kind of like it was just too much. And I noted that, and then the uniforms, and now suspending this guy, and it's like, dude, we keep on fucking kind of embarrassing ourselves in every facet of everything, and it's like we're actually good now. Like we're actually good now. I think that if anything, the fact that we hadn't won a series since like 2017 against the Rays, and now we're the number 1 team in the league, that's like a cool stat.
Yeah.
That's like, wow, look how hard we turn around. It was just kind of embarrassing. But yeah, but shouts out to Kevin Brown. Also shouts out to the Chicago White Sox commentators. I stream a lot of baseball games now because of my gambling thing. I like get on the illegally stream it on Stream East. And so I hear what all the commentators around the league sound like. Dude, the Chicago White Sox announcers, they're like a fucking comedy duo. Like it was like listening to like O&A. I was like, holy shit, this is funny.
Jesus.
Like they were making like these weird like abstract like bits. They were working like real bits. You know how like most times you watch a sporting game and they make some like corny jokes, like sports related. This guy was like doing like fucking like Curb Your Enthusiasm level, like talking about shit that had nothing to do with baseball, just like working bits. I was like, this is amazing, dude.
Jeez.
So it was really
Check that
impressive.
out.
But speaking of, we mentioned Twitter, or shall I say X? It's X now.
Yeah, I guess it's X now since our last podcast. I don't know.
It's really...
I haven't updated the Twitter app just because I'm like...
So it still says Twitter for you?
Yeah, it still says Twitter.
Are they going back? Do you know anything about that?
Going back?
Are they gonna like? I knowing Elon, I can't help but think this is a troll.
No, I think like he has a weird fixation with the letter X.
Yeah, SpaceX, true.
SpaceX, the Tesla X, Model X, the fucking his son's name is like X, whatever the fuck.
Yeah, his son has like a robot
Like,
name.
He tried to like rename
AR-15.
PayPal to X back in the day, and then like there's a bunch of shit with X. He just loves X for some reason.
I don't see how it's gonna. Well, the problem with I think he picked the worst possible app to do this with, because there's so much vernacular that is specific to Twitter. Like
Yeah.
a Twitter post is called a tweet.
Yeah, or like a retweet.
A retweet. And it's like, you know, that's not the same for Instagram. Like you don't go like, oh, I just Insta'd a picture last night, or Facebook. I'm like, yeah, I just booked something. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I guess the only thing Instagram did was like the stories. That's
Yeah,
the only thing they really coined.
yeah, but a story is kind of a neutral.
They had Snapchat stories first, I guess.
Yeah, they did have. Yes, they did, and we talked about that. They totally did jack Snapchat stories, but the word "story" that's more of a generic term that could be applied for any app. Tweet is very specific
Yeah, it
to
was, like,
Twitter.
branded.
It's like a Twitter, and you tweet. And now, what do you call it? I X'd. I post.
I think it's just like post.
I
now.
made an X.
Oops, I made an X.
Oopsie. It's just dumb, dude. Like
I just think it's dumb too because like X on the internet, it has like historically been branded with porn. So like now everyone just has like an app that looks like it's a weird like fetish dating website on their phones.
Yeah, I have to like think twice. So I still haven't gotten used to like the logo on my screen. Like whenever I like think of something I want to tweet or I want to X, I now have to like remind myself. I like scroll past it every time and go back. I think you're onto something. He definitely has like a weird fascination with X now that I think about it, because like you said, SpaceX and the PayPal thing. But first of all, it's strange that it doesn't seem like people have made as big of a deal about it. It almost feels like there's a joke that I'm not in on here, because I feel like more people should be trashing it than they are, and there's not a lot of like people like actually saying how stupid this is, and it doesn't seem
I
like
see so many people saying it's very
Really?
stupid. Yeah. It's like most of my Twitter feed now is people making fun of.
Oh, it's
X
taking
and
out
how
the
bad
rabbits eating
the branding
strawberries.
is. Well, no, that's my Instagram.
Okay.
My Instagram. If I got my Instagram Reels right now, you'd be like, whose phone is this? A teenage girl's phone.
A 9-year-old girl watching them guinea pig videos.
There's dogs and rabbits eating food.
Yeah, I feel like it's in that, like when Facebook changed, but the thing is, Facebook, they changed their umbrella company to Meta, but they kept Facebook, and they kept Instagram.
Yeah, I mean, they should have done that with X.
Yeah,
Because I think, like, what I've read is, like, he wants to make X basically, like, an ecosphere a la, like, Google, where they, you have Gmail, you got Google Drive.
oh,
You
wow.
got Google, you got YouTube, all that shit. But he wants to make X its own, like, social media space. And then also have, like, some sort of, like, said some weird shit where it was like, I want X to be the biggest trading platform on Earth. So I don't know if that's crypto or, like,
Oh,
making a
yeah.
new PayPal or Venmo type thing. Or, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of hard for me, like, I'm kind of, for the most part, I do like Elon Musk.
I don't know if I want to send people money from my bank account on an app where if like a post gets more than 100 retweets, they have like a dildo sponsorship as the first reply.
Yeah, it's kind of seems like, I will say, when Elon first bought Twitter, I thought a lot of the moves that were made were pretty solid. Like I agreed with bringing back a lot of the people, or I agree with bringing back everybody personally, because I'm an adult and I don't care what tweets exist, what X's exist in my feed. And I know people hated on the whole subscription thing, but I'm not gonna lie. I think it's a good model to be like, hey, if you subscribe, you can have more than 140 characters. And I'm like, dude,
And then
sometimes
also,
I want
like,
more than that.
If if you're in their program where you have, your verified shit or whatever, and if you get a bunch of impressions on your posts, you do get like ad share revenue.
Yeah.
So like people have been getting checks, and I'm seeing like meme accounts get like $10,000 plus checks, and I'm like, damn,
Wow.
I should have made one of those dumb accounts.
Yeah, exactly. The ad sharing still is just as bad as it has been. Like the promoted posts are insane. And I think the only reason I haven't kind of splurged on the Twitter subscription, because it is really tempting.
I think it's kind of stupid because it's like, at least for my use of Twitter, which is, I don't really post on it a lot. I kind of just look at the
don't think
top
I've ever seen
trending
you
shit so I know what's going on in the world. Because there used to be the little news tab on Facebook where they had like the top stories, and I would get my news from there.
Oh, good.
Before that, I would just like go to like BBC or like, I don't even fucking know, like bbc.co.uk and be like, all right, what's the world news today?
Of course.
But now
searching
Twitter,
BBC on X used to have a totally different meaning.
Oh, yeah.
1 month ago. Now it's totally cool.
Oh yeah.
Totally cool. I think it helps. I think me not having the subscription actually helps me for my purposes, because I've always said that 90% of winning an internet debate is you want to figure out the absolute shortest way to roast somebody imaginable. Like,
Without getting involved, you can't show that you actually care.
yeah, and if you having the 140 character limit kind of forces you to keep your shit brief. You know,
like edit yourself.
yeah, like, I'll find myself a lot of times what I'll do if I'm in a heated, very important, consequential debate, which is not as common as I think I make it seem sometimes. But whenever I do find myself in it, I'll usually just type out everything I'm thinking, and then I'll just go and just backspace entire like sentences until I get down to 140, and then I read it and I'm like, yeah, that's good. That's good. I fear that if I had the 280 character limit, I would abuse it. I would
Yeah.
certainly abuse it. So yeah, I don't know. I'm still on the fence about how long this is going to last, because the other thing is, it's like Elon Musk is that kind of like unique kind of personality where he really does seem to enjoy the trolling aspect of things. And I would not put it past him to just be doing shit like this. Like when he like came into the Twitter headquarters when he bought him with like a kitchen sink. He just has that like corny kind of like saying like we're throwing out everything in the kitchen sink. Like when we take over this company. He has that kind of like nerd humor.
Yeah, it's just like not endearing though.
Yeah, it
seems very like
it's autistic, dude. He's autistic.
Yeah.
You can't look, if he wasn't obviously autistic, I don't think I'd like him as much. Like his speech pattern could very well be construed as annoying as fuck. It is annoying as fuck. Like people ask him a question and his pauses, you'll see him in like an interview and somebody will be like, so blah 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 blah, and he'll go like, and like I'm not exaggerating right now, like still going. Then he'll like start talking. It's like, dude, that was way too long of a pause. Like at least start pretending like you're gonna say something. That's to me, that's like autistic shit because you're like you're completely missing out on the social cue of like. But then the other thing is it could just be a fame thing, where I think what happens with a lot of people, I think this might have happened to Kanye too. I think this happens to any famous person, which is you spend so much of your time surrounded by people who think you're the fucking god, who just like, you know, that like people really do hang on your every word. Like you and I are normal guys. Like if I can't keep my shit, like if I'm talking to somebody at a bar, I don't have the level of respect generally from just the public to just be able to say anything I want, take as long as I want. Like I got to keep my shit interesting or you're going to be like, I'm tired of talking to this guy.
Yeah.
He just paused for 10 seconds to like me asking him like what he's doing tomorrow.
Yeah, and there's no payoff.
Yeah, there's no payoff. It's like, who cares, man? But I think when you're famous, you just kind of like, you're so, I don't even think they know they're doing it. I just think it like I've said this same thing with, I think this happens a lot to, I think, attractive people. I think that when I always said that there's no better determinant of being a funny adult than being a kind of fat kid. Not fat, but just like not cool, ugly, chubby. Usually chubby kind of works its way into the whole not coolness because so much of being cool when you're in middle school is not being chubby.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much not being chubby helps when you're a kid. It's like one of the major determinants of being cool. Are you skinny?
Do you look like you play a sport? Perfect.
But so it forces you to like to compensate from a young age to like make people like you. You have to learn how to be funny. I think hot girls, hot guys that are always hot, they never have to do that. People just, you know, girls will laugh. If you're a hot guy, girls will laugh at your jokes. If you're a hot girl, oh my God. I don't even think, I honestly think it's worse for girls only because men are shallower than women and are more likely to, like, a hot guy will get a girl's attention and he might be able to, but like, unless he has some type of game, he's still going to miss out on a lot, you know, because girls will, like, they'll see a hot guy and acknowledge that he's hot, but like, they'll still be like, yeah, I don't know. He's just kind of like, I don't know. He's just like boring. He doesn't have like a personality. Like some girls, like the little freakier ones will still fuck him, but most girls do still have like a threshold of like, I'm not just going to fuck you because you're hot, dude. It helps. And you have my attention. I'm ready for you to make me want to fuck you, but you're going to have to do something. You got to bring something else to the table. I've never seen a guy say that. Like, I mean, I think it's just less, I think in dating, yes. But as it comes for like general, just a guy is way more likely to just not give a shit if this is the most boring person ever. When it comes to like meeting a girl at a bar. So I feel like hot girls are even worse with that, where like they'll just like, I mean, you listen to like some girls talk and you're just like, oh my God, you have never once had to be interesting in your life. It's a shame. I'm not saying you couldn't be, but it is amazing that you have never had to be interesting. You don't even know what that means. You don't even know what being interesting means. Mm-hmm. It's like, explain it to, like, they're sitting there like, what do you mean by interesting? Like, you know, you say something and people want to listen. They're like, yeah, people do want to listen to what I say because I'm a hot chick. I'm like, oh yeah, well, I guess that's true.
Yeah. I
guess technically you are interesting because you command more respect and attention than I do. These are just things I've noticed, folks. I don't know. Just theorems. But anyway, yeah, sorry.
Just speculating. over here.
Just speculating. They're just things I've noticed.
Yeah, you're gambling future ass and tit
Yeah,
futures.
I really went big on that theorem. I don't know how it's gonna pay off. I have no idea how it's gonna pay off. But yeah. Anyway, to wrap that up, yeah, I could see this being one of Elon Musk's like stupid autistic jokes that he's like working in his head, like
I don't know.
I'm gonna just troll them, and it's like
He's already lost so much money by just like tanking a brand. I don't know if like him being like, haha, I was just kidding, would even make sense at this point.
Well, that's the thing. That's the autistic side of it. Is he's
guess.
taken the joke so
mean-
much further than a regular person would. It's like the long pause.
Well, it's
He's
like
pausing
that,
too long.
It's like that meme where the guy's like, being an idiot. And then someone's like, you're an idiot. And he's like, haha, I was just pretending to be an idiot. Gotcha.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, but you're still an idiot, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the thing. It's like because he's not a regular human being, it's so hard to gauge his motives. But I will say, speaking of that phenomenon of like famous people and hot people syndrome, I went to a comedy show on Friday night, and I saw Anthony Cumia and what's his name, Gavin McInnes, and some people. It was like a very small show, obviously, because it's a little more in the they kind of got it kind of gets like controversial, whatever.
Where did you go to see this show?
Jimmy's Seafood.
At Jimmy's Seafood?
Yeah, it was weird. I was thinking it was gonna be at Magooby's, but it wasn't. It was at Jimmy's Seafood where I used to play. So that was weird because I also got kind of fired from there. Not really. I got laid off. But they have this like big banquet room like right in the middle. Like they have like so many rooms. They're kind of like high
Yeah, I
tops.
know
Where
they
they
do a
have-
lot of comedy shows there.
I didn't realize they did comedy shows there. I was very surprised when they said that was where it's going to be, but I guess it kind of makes sense now because it was a perfect size venue for it. There's probably like 100 people there. But I listen to particularly like Anthony and Gavin's show a lot. I think it's hilarious. And because I listen to them that often, it was honestly the first time I think I've ever been genuinely
like starstruck.
yes.
That's funny.
It was very weird feeling. It kind of reminded me the same feeling I would get like when I was in middle school and had a crush on a girl. Obviously, I didn't have a crush on them, but that type of like
We're
nervousness.
unpacking a lot here. Let's just keep going.
Yeah,
we'll think about it later.
I got a while to edit this. We're good. We're good. When we get to the end of this episode, it'll be like 4 minutes. Just non sequitur sentences. Like these are the only ones I've felt like I could leave in. No, but it was like not as much like the like the obviously the liking like the liking of them, but like more so just the nervousness and like the wanting to like when I talk to them like to not sound like an idiot and like leave a good impression. You know what I
Did you
mean?
do a meet and greet?
Well, that was the thing because it was such a kind of smaller thing. Dude, like they were just hanging out at the bars with everybody. Like it was nuts. Like I was not expecting them to be that kind of there. It wasn't even like this green room situation. Like they were literally just like at the bar doing shots, sitting there, just like talking and just whatever. And I was like, holy shit! Like Anthony went up. He kind of like was the feature. Gavin closed. Anthony went up, and you listen to a lot of O&A
Yeah, I
back in the
listened
day.
to a lot of O&A back in the day.
And so Anthony's not really a stand-up comic. He just kind of like, he's a radio guy. But because he's a radio guy, he can ramble for 45 minutes and make it entertaining. And so it was good. And then afterwards, I went to go take a piss, and I went the wrong way and just wound up going through like the backstage area. And he was just sitting back there like alone, just drinking a Coke. And I like walked back, and I was like, "Hey, good set, brother." And he was like, "Thank you." It reminded me exactly the same way. Like he was like, you could tell he was like genuinely happy that someone said good set, because I think that he didn't think he did well. And I was like, I didn't try to say anything else. I just kind of like, I turned around. I was like, good set, brother. And I turned around and just walked away. And in my mind, it was like the same thing I do if there was like a hot chick. And I was like, I don't want to belabor the moment. I don't want to feel like creepy. just gonna say something, and he's probably sitting there worried, like, oh my god, how did this guy even get back here? Now he's gonna fucking talk my ear off. And I was like, not gonna do that. Walked out, boom, and then I immediately went to the seat, and I was like, yeah, I just told Anthony good set, and Dom was like, hell yeah, and I was like, are we gay? Like, it was crazy. Like, I could not believe that I actually like felt that way ever. Because I've never been starstruck before. I also have never been a big like go to shows and stuff like that guy ever. So I've never really been to music concerts and stuff. And you know, I saw Bill Burr live years back, but it was in like a giant stadium, so it was like I didn't come like right next to him. I said like a couple words to Gavin. I talked to the producer guy, who's really cool. But like, yeah, that was just it just kind of, I brought that up because we were talking about like the whole famous person thing and how like I'm very critical of myself. I was very hard on myself in that situation to not be a typical like fangirl or whatever. You know, I was like, I didn't even want to, like, when I saw them hang at the bar, I was like, Dom was like, yo, let's fucking go over and like chill with him. I was like, dude, I'm not trying to be like one of those fucking people that just like fighting for their attention. Like everybody's like crowded around them, all trying to like be the one that gets their attention. It's like, it just feels so like, it just feels so like pathetic. It's like, it's like, dude, like it's just a fucking dude. But you can totally see how it's not just a dude. It's like weird. It's like, it's strange that like a person can have that kind of larger than life type of thing just based off of your perception of them. Like they're no different from you. And to a person who's not familiar with O&A or like the comedy or Gavin McInnes or anything, they wouldn't think anything of it. They just be like, this is just a fucking 5'10" guy here. But when you have the own thing built in your own mind up, all of a sudden and then all of a sudden you can just tell like Anthony is like talking, just like kind of rapping and just like talking shit with people, and like people are like dying laughing, and in my mind I'm like, I know he's funny, but is he really that funny? Like, is he really killing it that hard? And also like, if he was just a regular dude, would this many people be like paying attention to him like that to give him the opportunity? Like, that's kind of what I was getting at, is like, I think when you're like famous, not like a famous in a certain circle, because they'll have that effect on the people in the circle, but when you're famous like a Joe Rogan level, dude, I can't imagine that guy goes anywhere and doesn't just command the room because everybody's just like, oh, Joe's talking, everybody listen. Or like a Kanye or like a Jay-Z. And I think, yeah, obviously that's going to affect your, how it's whether it's a conscious thing where you actually start to believe that you are just like the things that you have to say are more important and smarter and better and funnier than anything else, or just the natural kind of like social cues that you're no longer receiving, the like stimulus, kind of like picking up an accent. You know, you go to a country, you stay there long enough, you start to kind of pick up an accent a little bit. You're not doing it consciously, but just the patterns of the way people talk and like how they say things, and you just kind of slowly start to absorb that until now it's a part of you. I think that's kind of similar to what happens with famous people, where it's like you just slowly start to absorb this new cadence of conversation that is unnatural in real people's lives. It's not normal for someone to give that much of a shit about anything you're talking about, unless it's like the people that are closest to you, and even them will be like, dude, shut the fuck up. You know? So it's like I found that to be intriguing, to say the least. And I also thought I was being a little bit of a fag a little bit, because I was like, wow, you gotta fucking chill with that starstruckness. You are almost 31, you know? It's just embarrassing. So
yeah, I mean, I feel like that's normal. Just because it's like, it's someone that like you know, it's like kind of like that parasocial thing, not in a negative way, but it's like you feel like you know this person, you feel like you could talk to them, but like in reality, they don't really know who you are. But like,
yeah,
you know, their job that night is to be like, hey, I'm here, I'm hanging out, I'm being friendly, everyone can say hi, and da-da-da.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I would always say about like the OnlyFans things, where it's like, you know, like the thing I always want to say to dudes who like subscribe to OnlyFans is like, all right, dude, let's say you actually do like, you think you like this girl because you're a simp. But let's say you actually like, let's say you actually do think there's a chance. It ain't gonna happen by subscribing to our OnlyFans, dude. There's no quicker ticket to not having a chance with a girl than subscribing to her OnlyFans. Now, I personally wouldn't want to date a girl with an OnlyFans, but let's say you did. Like, I just want to say to them, like, dude, you can't be that guy, you know? So it's like you said with the parasocial thing, it's like, it is weird because you listen to them all the time. You know their opinions on stuff. In a way, you're literally sitting there thinking, like, we could be friends. I know we'd be friends. Like, I'm sitting there being like, I know we'd be friends.
Yeah, but I don't want to come on too strong.
Yeah, I don't want to come on too strong. That's the thing. It was like a guy crush. It was like this feeling of like, that's my boy, but I can't even dap him up because he doesn't know he's my boy.
Yeah, like you have like a kinship to them, but like, yeah,
Yeah.
they don't. It's not reciprocated.
And then you
because-
feel like you want to.
yeah,
It's just there's no other word for it but pathetic. It was pathetic. It was pathetic, and I think that I was kind of taking that route where I was like, you know, I was like, well, you know, if you want to get to that level, if you want to do something, you can't be acting like they're above you. You just gotta kind of act like, hey, you know, whatever, just chill, be laid back. Don't act like it's a fucking big deal. Like, you know, you'll get a chance to meet them when you deserve to meet them, not when they're being fucking basically paid to fucking hang out in a bar with you or whatever. I said all that to Dom, but in the back of my mind, I was like, oh, guess what's up.
I'm gonna say a good set though.
That being said, Dom actually did Ryan Sickler's podcast about the Pitbull thing recently. I don't know if he told you about that.
No,
He Skyped in.
Nice.
And then I was like, dude, you got to bring up to Ryan when Jay Larson did Live from the Studio and Ryan called in. Do you remember that?
yeah.
And we talked about the kerosene heater, and he actually remembered it. He was like, oh, dude, I
Hell
totally
yeah.
remember that. I was like, hell yeah, dude.
Perfect.
Oh, yeah. Anything going on with you?
Well, in the break from the last episode, I went to Columbus and Cincinnati, Ohio.
Oh, yeah, you were in Ohio.
I took the podcast advice, made a little road trip out of it.
Nice.
Because we were looking at so the whole thing was we already took that time off because we originally had a show in Richmond, but then, you know, right before we booked our Airbnb and set that trip in stone, we hit the booker up and they booked us in February and they're like, oh yeah, I'm actually out of town. I can set you up with another venue, but like, you know, da 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 da. So we're like, fuck it, cancel. We'll do it another time. Also, a lot of our peppers haven't really come in yet, so like it would have been hard to do a hot set.
It's also
without-
weird that being out of town is like a no-go for an Airbnb. It's like, I was kind of hoping you weren't going to be there.
no.
Oh, no, no, I'm sorry.
The booker for the
show.
the show booker.
I was
yeah.
thinking the Airbnb guy was like, well, I'm not going to be there. I was like, good.
Yeah, no, perfect.
That's perfect. That's exactly what I had in mind.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I mean, you could stay at my place, but I mean, like, we can't chill. It's like, oh, that's a shame, dude, but that's fine. Really,
it's
it's fine.
I'm paying, a couple $100. Yeah. If you can't be there, great. No, but so last minute we were changing our plans and we looked up flights and I was like, oh, okay, I could, like the night we looked it up, I was like, oh, I could use points to do this, that, get us there and back, pretty easy. Mm-hmm. And then we just like forgot about it. And then like 2 weeks before the trip, we looked up flights again and I was like, fuck this.
Yeah.
It would have been like close to like $1,000.
Was it Southwest?
All in all. I think so.
Yeah, they don't fuck around, dude.
And it was like, it's like, dude, come on. $1,000. Like, I looked it up. I was like, let's just get better Airbnbs. Like,
Yeah.
let's just now pretend we have $1,000 budget, like you're saying.
Boom.
Be like, okay, let's road trip. It's not going to cost that much money.
8-hour drive?
8 hour to Cincy nonstop, but we stopped on the way in. We stopped in Columbus. So that was like 6 hours.
So,
And then stayed there for a night. We stayed in like Short North, which is like their arts district. And it's basically just like one big street with a bunch of different shit on it. Bars, stores, coffee shops, all that shit.
Short North in Cincy, you said?
In Cincy. So we stayed there.
You said the plane tickets would have been 1,000 combined.
Yeah, combined, like for round trips.
So you guys,
It would have been like $250 one like each way, and then for two people.
boom.
But
So you
so
saved-
basically, even just all the Airbnbs in total was like $500 for the 3 nights, 4 days, or whatever the fuck it was.
Yep.
But then I was like, all right, let's get nicer Airbnbs then. So we got a place in Short North that had a parking spot right in the middle of everything. Went out that night, walked around, Columbus has like a weird fascination with the Moscow mules. Like the bar we went to dinner at, one of their specials was a giant 96-ounce Moscow mule in a copper mug that, like, it said it served 4 to 6 people.
Holy shit.
But it was $40, I think, $40 or $50. We looked at it and we're like, that's okay. What if we do that? Like, we're walking home, like, we're not going anywhere. But then we like did the math and we're like, 96 ounces, that's a lot of drinks.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you guys wind up doing it?
We didn't end up doing it.
I was going to say, that sounds like Hangover Central, dude.
But luckily, we just got dinner there. Walked up the street, went to another bar, the special that night, a pitcher of mule for $15.
Weird. Yeah,
so we got that one.
it's always kind of sad when a city like loves a thing that like isn't technically theirs. I say the same thing.
It's not theirs, and they love it to such an excess.
Yeah, it's like at least in Maryland we do the crush thing, but like we invented the crush, so it's like that's cool. We get a 96 ounce of a crush, and you people are like, "What the fuck is that?" It's like you can only.
Dude, you guys are fascinated with the Moscow mules and the
we
whole
have that too.
Ukraine situation is going on. How can you live with yourself?
Exactly, dude.
So Columbus was cool. Got a nice dinner and a breakfast there. Went over to Cincinnati. Immediately went to the zoo when we got to Cincinnati because they got the big zoo there. I forgot that's where the Harambe thing happened.
Oh shit, yeah.
But we didn't really see anything about it there. And
Yeah,
like
I
I
guess
had
that
like that in
probably-
the back of my head, and we were at the gorilla exhibit, and I was like, I don't see where a kid could have fallen in here.
Yeah, I guess
But they probably changed it.
They definitely probably changed it, and also
must have changed it.
it's definitely not something you want to advertise. Like,
Yeah.
and this is where we killed a gorilla.
But they had a thing go viral over the pandemic where like a hippo was born premature, underweight, and like they rarely survive. But then this one hippo, Fiona, survived, and she became like a big internet celebrity.
Nice.
And like Liz has always wanted to go see Fiona, so we went to go see Fiona and her little brother Fritz.
Nice.
And we hung out there for a while. They had a walking kangaroo like enclosure.
Dude. Like you could walk with them?
Dude, we opened the door to the trail, and like 3 inches into the trail, there was just a big ass kangaroo on the path with like zookeepers next to it being like, just don't step on it, walk around it, don't touch
How
it.
do they get away with
Dude,
that?
there were 20 kangaroos like in the size of like a soccer field.
You'd think if
And
there's any
just
zoo,
like a little trail that went through it, and we're just like, they're all just looking at us, and they're all laying down, like they're not aggressive or anything, but they
But will fuck you
they're
up.
looking around, and there's like they know you're there. Like I don't know what the fuck is
You
going
would-
through their heads.
of any zoo, you'd think the Cincinnati Harambe Zoo would be the one that tightened up a little bit on their live exhibits.
Yeah,
They're like, no, come
They
walk with the
wouldn't
kangaroos.
Let their animals in touching distance. of
Cheetah
children.
petting zoo. What the fuck are you guys doing, man? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Was it like, because I know you've been to the Baltimore Zoo, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Was the Cincinnati Zoo like much better? I would imagine. Like it wasn't depressing.
So it was half zoo, half botanical garden. So it was like beautiful because like they had, it was, manicured really well, and they had just flowers and beautiful trees everywhere. And yeah, it was really nice.
Wow.
And obviously they've got some money coming in from their viral hippos,
Yeah, well, that's true too.
big merchandising,
It's definitely unfortunate that the Baltimore Zoo literally looks like just they blocked off a section of Baltimore City and just put.
I mean,
wild
that's literally
animals.
what happened.
Yeah, but they didn't like. They
The
didn't
zoo
like.
started. They just like, Druid Hill Park up over there. They literally just like sectioned off a part of it where there were just deer for a while. That was the main attraction at the zoo.
Oh, great.
And then someone donated 2 swans. So then the zoo was 2 swans and like 20 deer.
You're like, this is still not quite as good as Loch Raven yet. Wow, dude, that's fun. That's honestly fun.
Yeah, but
The
Cincinnati
Cincy
was
Zoo.
cool. Got some good food out there. There's like a guy I saw on like Beat Bobby Flay who I remember was from Cincinnati. So we went to one of his restaurants.
Are they? What's their big food out there? Is there chili for them?
Yeah, so they do that like the Cincinnati chili where it's
And they're kind of like
on
south, right?
spaghetti, but it's like I don't know. It's like cinnamon and shit in it. It's gross.
Oh, really? Okay, so the Greek spaghetti kind of has cinnamon sticks in it too, and I love it.
I mean, it's probably very similar.
Wow.
You're gonna have to get a Skyline chili.
Yeah. Did you like Columbus more or Cincy?
I think Cincinnati, just because like we stayed there more.
Yeah,
Went
Columbus
to a bunch
is cool,
of
but it's...
museums. They had the Red Bull Flugtag while we were
Oh,
there.
did you see that?
Yeah,
Oh, that must have been sweet.
it was sick. It was honestly sick, and I was like, I think they did it in Baltimore a while ago, and I was like, damn, I wish I went to that. That would have been fun. So it was
That
fun. We didn't hang out long just because it was hot as fuck that day, and like once you see a couple like people eat shit off the platform into the water, you're like, I get this.
I think this makes
I don't
sense.
need to see any more of this. This is great.
But this is very on brand for Red Bull.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm glad you followed the podcast to-dos for the most part, because it would have been very off-brand if you didn't.
Right.
It would have been like, what are we fucking talking
Just
about?
wouldn't have made like, I ran the numbers. The flight alone, like that we didn't get tickets for, paid for the whole trip pretty much.
Boom.
And then if we went through with that shit, then we still would have had to all the other expenses on top of it, plus rental car, all that shit.
Yeah, and the other thing about driving that I don't think I mentioned last time is I think, because one of my goals is still, I would at some point like to drive across country. It's just like, that's a big commitment. But I definitely feel like it actually gives you a much better perspective when you're traveling to actually see like the gradual progression into where you're going. Because I always kind of said the same thing with like the Beltway, even in Baltimore, where it's like you're in Towson and then you're like, I'm gonna go to Catonsville, and then you just hop on 695, drive on like this like highway, and then you pop off on an exit and you're in a new town. But like when you actually like drive down like fucking like Liberty Road and do some shit, and you're like, you actually see how it like transitions into another place.
Yeah.
Like you go to West Baltimore has a much different just feel than East Baltimore does.
Yeah.
And I've always noted that like my family is much more like Eastern side, like out on Dundalk Sparrows Point, because I think that's more of like the Greek Italian thing, So it's like I like kind of like seeing that transition, and like when you drive, like when I drove to Nashville, it's like it's not like you just get on a plane, you pop off in Nashville, and you're like, okay, I'm here. But it's like you got to see the whole thing, like how it
Drive through fucking
becomes
mountains
Nashville.
and shit, tunnels, fucking everything.
You really feel
I
like
mean,
you actually traveled.
On 70 when it has like Columbus, Ohio, 380 miles away. Like we literally did that.
Which is why I'm going to
fucking
take
crazy.
a ship to Europe next time I go.
Ooh.
Just to really take the fucking Titanic.
Get the Black Plague.
Just really get the fucking vibe going. No, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah, no, it was a good time. And then, yeah, we went to the Orioles game a couple weeks back. That was a good time.
Oh, shit. You know what we got to talk about? This is the one other big thing I really want to talk about. The invasive species that has invaded our lands. The spotted lanternfly.
Dude, no, it was crazy. In Ohio, like we stopped at a rest stop, obviously, because we had to take a piss, but like one of the big displays in the rest stop was literally like kill on sight. If you see this, murder it, stomp on it, check your wheel well. They like to hide in them and travel across the country.
Isn't that crazy?
It's fucking nuts.
It's
dude.
like
They had like a fresh license plate with like a kill fucking the spotted lanternfly decal on it. Like it was one of those like, Bay Bridge Memorial fucking tags.
It's so weird and like counter everything you've ever seen to have like a license to kill from the government, like a public-wide ordinance, like America's Most Wanted, like if you see these motherfuckers, murk them. It's weird. I can't bring myself to do it. I hate killing things, but it's such a contradictory way to feel, because also this, I didn't know about them until Liv told me about them like a couple weeks ago, and I said, I can't remember if I told you this or not, but I said the most cringe thing I think I ever said in my life. Like, even as it was leaving my mouth, I was like, you suck. And she was like, I was like, oh, look, I sent a picture of it to her, and I was like, look at this cicada. He's mad late. You're mad late, bro. Because I hadn't heard about him yet. I just thought it was a cicada that, like, missed the memo 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It's like, what an idiot. And then she was like, no, that's a spotted lanternfly. I was like, whatever. And then we're walking my parking lot. They love my parking lot for some reason. I was walking, and I saw one. She's like, Jimmy, kill it. I was like, I'm not going to kill it. And then she was like, but they're an invasive species. And I was like, So are we.
Oh my god. Corny as hell.
I was like, no, dude, what are you, bro? What are you? But I learned a lot in my endeavors into the spotted lanternfly, my extensive research. Their preferred habitat is the tree of heaven. Mm-hmm. You know where there's a lot of trees of heaven? The studio. Tons of them.
Well, you know what? They're what they go after here are saffron trees, and they look like trees of heaven. But what happens is when they go, to burrow or wherever the fuck, lay eggs, suck shit out of the tree, they accidentally infect them, and the tree of heaven are used to it because that's their normal habitat. But the saffron trees, a lot of them are gonna get, parasites and unfortunately die.
Wow.
So that's why people are like, smash these bitches.
And saffron's like the most expensive spice too, isn't it? Is that the same saffron?
I might be saying the wrong tree.
Okay, I was gonna say the saffron because
saffron, is a spice ingredient.
That's a big deal.
It's have you ever seen those trees with they look like red fuzzy pine cones sticking up?
Okay, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, maybe it's sumac. I think it's
sumac.
Sumac trees.
Ooh, and now all we're gonna have is the poison sumac, which I am allergic to. So fuck that sumac. Okay, I care a little bit less. I never cooked with sumac before. The trees of heaven, of course, are the ones that they grow super fast. And I remember I learned that because I was seeing these trees and I'm like, what the fuck is this, man? Every year at the studio, these trees one day I'll come here and then I'll go like a week, I'll come back and it'll be like fucking 9 feet tall. I'm like, how does this happen? They are also apparently a weed which is another thing. It's like, it makes me really question our kind of very subjective definitions of things. Like what makes something invasive? What makes a plant a weed? Apparently the trees of heaven, they emit this like noxious thing into the soil, which makes it like very difficult for other things to grow around it other than itself. So it's kind of like detrimental to the environment around it. But it's like I want to kill these bugs. But I'm just like really like apparently like the bugs around here, like spiders will eat them and like chickens will eat them. But apparently like a lot of birds just are not big fans of these bugs.
Yeah, because they look weird.
Yeah, it's the red. I think that naturally
they look like. When I first saw it in real life, I was like, "This looks like a fucking Pokemon." Like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, it just makes you. It just like I guess I think I'm gonna commit now to starting to kill them. I think I am because
I feel like I need to get one of those like bug salt guns.
Yeah,
I'm like stomping on shit.
Oh yeah, the bug salt guns, dude. I forgot about those. Ooh, that would be fun.
Yeah.
They love my balcony, dude. I think they like something about like the epoxy that like is painted all over all the cement fixtures in our apartment building because our parking lot is like that and our balcony's like that and the side of our building's like that. And they're just fucking all over that bitch.
Weird.
And I'll just see Dom out there just like slapping him with a shoe. And I'm just like, what an idiot. But I was walking in the apartment today and they were just everywhere. And they was like, Jimmy, you got to start killing these things. They're getting out of hand. I was like, first of all, I'm not sure if that's what's going to make or break the spotted lanternfly invasion. They're just like sitting there at NASA or whatever, fucking the EPA sitting there like, when will Jimmy Selesky break? When will he begin killing?
Yeah.
He's our most valued assassin. Bug assassin. The lanternflies, when they catch wind, they're like, oh no. He got a salt gun.
Retreat.
Retreat. You just see a big horde of fucking... I realized that I told you about my apartment before and how it's like kind of like turned into shit. I think because my apartment knows and I'm planning on leaving soon. And so I think I'm literally getting the fucking like plagues. Because I was thinking about it, I was like, what were the biblical plagues? It was like the
Locusts.
the flooding.
The
boils.
diseases.
Yeah, the boils. I have all that. So like first my air conditioning was flooding. I was like, oh no. And then my sink got clogged and I was trying to fix it. And then the fucking water just started spraying over. So my whole kitchen was like flooded.
Oh my God.
And then as a result of that, because all this drain water was all over my fucking cabinets and shit, the next day I had this fly outbreak.
Oh my God.
So there was fruit flies all over my part. My brother was making these like weird like fruit fly traps with like the vinegar and the water with the poking things in the top. So we had the flooding, then we had the flies, and then because of the flooding as well, our carpet, like the flooring under the carpet,
it was starting like the Red Sea.
Yeah, it started separating from the ground. So now there's just like a bunch of bumpy boils in my carpet.
God.
I was like, dude, I'm getting the fucking plagues right now, dude.
Holy
My apartment
shit.
is plagued.
God damn.
It's unreal. Yeah, and now of course they had the lantern flies. But I mean, also at the same, aren't they gonna fucking die in like 2 months anyway?
Yeah, that's the hope.
You know,
But, I
they're
mean,
not gonna live in the snow.
They're gonna, lay their eggs. So I think like,
We gotta figure something out, dude.
we gotta figure this out. We're the only ones who can.
We are Maryland's last hope. We gotta come up with now. Yeah, but that's a newfangled type of event that's been happening. I think invasive species ones are always cool. I think that's kind of dope because you'll see them and you're like, you fucking piece of shit, get out of here. I'm trying to drive my car and pollute the environment,
They're like
and you're
the
over
only
here.
thing you're allowed to be like xenophobic about.
I love, like you said, the kill on sight order. It's so funny.
It's
To have
insane.
this, like, we're all like paid assassins from the government. I almost kind of wish it was one of those things, and I would actually recommend this. Okay, here's my
If
solution.
it was like recycling, you get like 10 cent a fucking lanternfly you take out.
100%. I think this is we promised you a solution, and I think we have one, folks. Listen up. When I was a little boy, my neighbor, Mr. Dave, had a shed made of wood. We also had a lot of carpenter bees in our neighborhood, and he would pay all the neighborhood kids 25 cents per dead carpenter bee that we would bring to him. So every day, all the kids in the neighborhood would clocking in at a shift, and we go around with like a fucking wiffle bat and some other shit, tennis rackets, and just start whopping these things and collecting them into piles, and then walking up to his door with just a handful of dead carpenter bees.
Swollen from all the stingers getting in your hands.
And he would count them out and give us a quarter per one. And dude, that fixed the problem, man. When you got a whole neighborhood of kids just paid assassins just killing these things, why doesn't the United States government have a certain type of program where they go, look, we'll give you, fuck it, a nickel? A nickel? What do you think would be a good amount? What would make you start killing? How much would it take for you to become a born killer?
I mean, at what age? If you're like 8, 8 to 12.
Well, we're currently infested. I'm talking about right now.
Right now, how much would it take? Good question. Probably 50 cents.
Yeah, because it's not just the killing. You also have to kind of commit to collecting the bodies.
Collect them and shit, yeah.
And I guess they wouldn't be able to prove, like...
I guess I don't even
That you didn't
know.
just
50
find a
cents
dead body?
isn't even worth it.
But the
'Cause I
thing
don't really
is...
see that many. So it's not like... I wouldn't even go through the trouble of collecting the money, because it'd be too much work. And then I'd have to have a bunch of dead bugs sitting around till I get enough to make it worth it.
You drive down the DMV, which is a big bag of... I don't know, dude. I think
You
that
go to a Safeway and they have like a Coinstar machine for fucking bugs.
maybe for rich bigwigs like ourselves, it might not be enticing, but to all the motherfuckers we already have walking around with the cans, collecting the cans and stuff, dude, switch it up. Convert that. They'll do a can for 10 cents. Fucking, and also it's like, okay, I'm not gonna like wake up at 6 a.m. with like night vision goggles and start fucking slaying bugs for 50 cents a bug.
But dude, yeah, if you're homeless and instead of picking up cigarette butts to like smoke a cig that way, just collect a bunch of bugs and get a real pack.
Kill a bug, you can get it. 2 bugs is a Lucy. 2 bugs is a Lucy, dude. You create a whole new fucking market. You go out there, you kill 2 fucking lanternflies. Now you got a cigarette. You bring them into the fucking local station. Boom. You don't even have to pay people the 50 cents. Just give them a cigarette. Now we're just trading. Now we're just skipping the middleman. 2 Lucy's or 1 Lucy is fucking 2 bugs. Something like that. Look, if we already have the kill on sight order from the government, why not make it a little interesting, A little interesting. I'm joking, but I'm not.
Get some bounties out there.
There's plenty of public service projects that we have, and if like that we pay people money that for some of this shit doesn't even make a fucking difference. Some of the time, some of the shit we're just throwing money down a fucking bottomless pit that's never making the situation better. This would directly make the situation better. This would absolutely 100%. You put money in, you get bugs out, boom. Now it's like we're all fucking like militiamen. That's fucking awesome, dude. And now everybody has a job. You got a fucking unemployment problem? No, you don't. Oh, you don't have a job? You got a bat? You got a fucking racket? You got a fucking piece of paper folded up? You got a job. If you have a like, I think that I'm getting angry that this hasn't been done yet. Actually, like, I'm sitting here like, there's no way. I see no flaws here. I see no flaws. So that's our take. I don't know.
Oh my God.
I don't see why not. I mean, hey, if you got a good reason why not, email me. I'm glad to see it. But other than that, I mean, I think that's all I had, honestly.
Nice.
I'm just happy to get kind of back in the mix, get stuff
back
going.
Dip our toes back into the pod.
Bada
I
bing.
did see something pop up on Nextdoor earlier. That was crazy. You know, like I'm sure you played like Little League and all that shit. Like, did you ever play in the field behind the Giant, like down by Party City? There's like a little baseball field back there.
I played like pickup games, never recreationally. I was always played in the Lutherville Rec Council for some reason. I don't know why.
Gotcha. Well, so I saw a thing on Nextdoor or something like Schwartz Avenue, like neighbors, be careful in the park. I saw a man with a white t-shirt and salmon shorts masturbating, watching me and my husband on our porch. Like, and our house faces the park. And we
Did I
tried
say
to
I never
scare
played
him
back
off.
there?
We scared him off, but then he came back and started coming towards us. And my husband had to scare him off again. Finally ran away. But be on the lookout for an 18 to 21-year-old who masturbates.
I was 18 to 20. I was literally about to say, be on the lookout for 2011 me on the prowl in the fucking Walker Avenue fucking baseball park. Holy shit.
Dude, yeah. Insane shit.
Wow. That's great.
I like tapping into my community and just
You gotta
seeing
tap
what's
into
going on.
It's good to know that there's still good old fashioned crimes like that. Sometimes it's like, you hear about like, that's a crime that it's almost,
I mean, it's not a good crime.
I don't want to say heartwarming, but it is. It's one of those crimes where it's like, all right, like it was a husband and wife too. It'd be weirder if the woman was alone. It's like a husband, and also he was like scarable.
Yeah.
Like the fact that he was scarable, it's almost like, oh, he's just a guy.
I mean, it's still like, it is still scary for the girl, probably. That's probably weird. But I think for a guy, just the thought of a guy masturbating in public is kind of funny.
And then you also got to look at this. It also gave the guy in the relationship an opportunity to look like a fucking badass.
Do you think he set that up?
I'm not saying he didn't. I'm saying that like there was situations where it's the perfect situation because it's like, obviously in that circumstance, you got to do something. And what better situation than when you do something for the guy to get scared off and you turn around and like, it's the last time somebody jerks off to us, babe. If anybody jerks off to us, it's going to be me. So, I mean, that guy's probably scored a couple points in his relationship. He should be fucking thanking that guy. He should be fucking thanking me.
It's your looper came to the future.
Yeah.
Beat off in that part.
Wow. But yeah, man, that's real nice. That's
fun.
real nice.
I'm going to start trying to bring some funny Nextdoor things out.
Yeah, that could be a good segment. Yeah, next door. So I think we're at episode 300 and I don't even know. This is the first episode I don't know what episode. I think it's 314 this will be. Maybe one segment. Mm-hmm. Would that be crazy? Would that be too much planning?
Who knows?
But
I guess that might just be Towson talk at that point.
Towson talk. Well, yeah.
It's a big umbrella.
We make a point of it. But yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in. Glad to be back. Hot August. Speaking of hot August, shouts out to Bug Glazer. I couldn't make it the other day. I don't think you were able to make it either, but I hope all went well with the festival, and I hope to be able to make it at some point. Other than that, you got any plugs? Anything coming up?
No, just follow me on social media at Eric Glazer on everything. And yeah, at Jimmy Selesky, at Sophomore MD.
You already
at LFTS
know.
podcast on everything.
Yeah.
Plug some
Guys,
shit.
week this week, because I'm taking a little midweek OC kind of like double header day, you know. But I will be at Perennial just like every Tuesday. I'll be there this Tuesday, August 22nd from 5 to 8:30, Perennial in Towson. And I will be, upon return from the beach, I will be at Brews and Barrels in Gaithersburg on Saturday, August 26th from 7 to 10. And Sunday, August 27th, I will be at the Horse You Came In On in Fells Point. That's the first time I played at the Horse, I think, since June. It's actually been quite some time. I think it's the longest I've ever gone without playing at the Horse since COVID. So making my triumphant return to the Horse Sunday, August 27th, 5 to 9. This also marks pretty much the last time I'm playing a Sunday for a while because I don't play Sundays during football season. So if Sundays are your day to do stuff and you want to see your boy, make it count. Other than that, yeah, Eric already said, at Jimmy Selesky, at Sophomore MD, at Eric Glazer, and of course at LFTS Podcast across the board. We're back. We're better. We're almost 31. All of us.
Yeah, combined.
And till next week, folks. Peace.
Peace.